This podcast is brought to you by Martin Kearns and the Valor of Valhalla series. In the battle between two ancient evils, can one naive young man become the last hope against powerful creatures of legend? Beneath the Veil is the gripping first book in the Valor of Valhalla dark urban fantasy series. If you like reluctant heroes, infernal myths, and bloody epic clashes, then you'll love Martin Kearns' formidable foray into the unknown. So head on over to readkearns.com and grab yourself a copy of Beneath the Veil today. Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Stories, the True and the Fictional. We have another fantastic guest. A lot of our viewers may know who he is. But before we bring him in, Ryan, are you still living the dream?
I am living the dream. Yes. Not much dreaming was had last night. I had a very wakeful night, unfortunately. I don't know why. Maybe just spiders were encroaching on my dreams and stuff. But yeah, no, living the dream. I'm a little bit more into Sinner's Past, which is creepy as anything, which is great. That's pretty much all I've been reading this week because it is a chunky book. So I think I'm about 172 pages, so just over halfway through. So
awesome,
loving it.
Shout out to SS Fitzgerald, who was on very recently. Great author, great guy. Speaking of great authors and great people, check out our sponsors, Rebecca Castles and Martin Kearns. They have some great stuff out. Links are down in the show notes. Buy Ryan's shirt. He's always wanting people to buy his shirt. We do have merch if you're that way inclined to support the show. Let's get into it. E.L. Montague, thank you for joining us.
Hello and howdy. And what shirt? Is it the shirt you're wearing?
No.
That's one
You're
of them. You're
advertising your shirt that you're not wearing? That seems like cheating.
Yeah.
I wore mine for the last interview, which was I think a couple of days ago. So
it's in the
currently
wash.
in the queue. It's in the queue to be washed. So it's in my
okay.
TBW list, the to be washed list.
I was just giving you a cue to hype it up and get one more little pitch. That's okay. That's okay. We'll take a look. Anyway, thank you for having me on your show. You mentioned earlier that you had my latest book, and I'll tell you that I've got another one coming out in about a month. I'm actually doing the audio recording on it now, so we're on schedule.
Excellent. Well, for the very few who may not know, who is E.L. Montague?
E.L. Montague. I am a writer of fantasy and science fiction. I do a little bit of horror. All I've published at this point under the E.L. Montague name is science fiction and fantasy. I've written the stories of the Temra, is a whole collection in an epic fantasy world, and Stories of Near Earth, which is science fiction based on the setup for Near Earth is at the moment of the singularity where AI personifies, becomes animated, and we have first contact. So it's what's happening in the world when you have outer planet rebels fighting with the Triplanet Federation. Androids are now becoming their own thing, and we just happen to step into another sentient species that any alien species sufficiently advanced to get here is also going to be warlike. So that's that one. And then I also have Seaward Secrets, which is the world of Seaward, which is if you were to imagine that all of the paranormal creatures did exist and they ran the underworld. So if all of your crime and criminals were think the Sopranos or Boardwalk Empire or any of those, Peaky Blinders, but with werewolves, vampires, Aswang, which are Filipino vampire creatures that are really kind of horrible. They live on unborn children and that sort of thing. It's a fun little story that I got going there too. So those three series are out there, and then a host of short stories and stuff posted around. I also write under a couple of other names, but E.L. Montague is who we're talking about today.
Awesome. Awesome. I saw Ryan perk up a little bit when you mentioned, Underworld, Sopranos, because he's a Supernatural fan and he's a Sopranos fan. So you basically just made him a rep.
Well, so when I was young, my father raised me on things like The Godfather and The French Connection, and I have a real love for British crime stories, and so I've always been into that. And as I've told my wife and anybody else who's read my work, I could write about Aunt May going to choir, but it's not very interesting. I really like bad people and the things that they do. And so if you're reading something I'm writing, there's going to be a mobster, there's going to be a prostitute, somebody's going to die, and that's the kind of stuff that I write.
Excellent. Well, we are going to dive into all of that, but as most people will know on the show, we like to do icebreaker questions to get to know people, preferably their selfishness. We did have to kind of add stuff to this first question because too many people gave us the Miss Universe's answers, like I want to get rid of poverty, I want to get rid of war and all that stuff.
Oh, am I allowed to, do I need to censor myself at all? All right. No. Well, I won't. Yeah, that's bullshit. No, I don't give answers like that.
Yeah. So
go ahead.
What would you get rid of if you could get rid of anything in the world?
Okay. So I did say, I know that I'm supposed to get rid of suffering. Yeah. But I actually don't think that would be good for the world. So I'm going to give you the complicated Miss Universe answer, and then I'll give you another one to go with that. The complicated answer is, if you got rid of suffering, you'd also get rid of goodness. And therefore, the old story, you ask the preacher, how come God lets you suffer? So that you know joy. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like the escalation thing. So people who get in and get addicted to things, the reason you get addicted to cocaine and prostitutes and any sort of big thing and money and gambling and all the rest of that is because you get the high off of the good moment. And then you keep struggling for the next big moment. And if everything's always good, nothing is ever good. And therefore you have to have the highs and lows. So in the age-old question of why is there suffering in the world, so that we can recognize goodness. If you can't recognize suffering, you won't recognize grace. So anyway, there you go. Simple answer. I can't do suffering. So what I'd really get rid of, and this is totally selfish, is paperwork. I effing hate just all the forms and paperwork and logging. And so in my day job, I have a lot of tracking my own activities. I have to track it for billing, and I have to track it for audit, and I have to track it for the SEC, and I have to track it for all sorts of stuff. So I've got lots and lots of paperwork in my life. And worse, I have to check everybody else's paperwork. So not only do I have to do something that I don't like, I have to go bury myself in something I don't like from somebody else. So if I got to get rid of one thing in the world, I would get rid of paperwork.
But in saying that, if that is your job, then would you still have a job, or would you be able to just write full time?
Oh yeah, no. It's the irritating part of my job. So what I do more than anything, so I work a lot with salespeople, and I help. I think, in my mind, I make salespeople more successful. But one of the huge parts of being successful in sales is paperwork. You got to fill out order forms, and you got to do requests, and you got to get the right part, and you have to keep track of everything, and you have to be able to send the correct bill. And that's all paperwork. And I think that a lot of people stay away from the really interesting and fun parts of their job because they're stuck back in the office, making certain that they put an X in the right box on page 37 of a contract, and that stuff is mind numbing.
Yeah.
And by some curse, I hate it, but I'm good at it. So, let me rephrase. I'm not good at doing it for myself, but I'm really good at understanding what's there and finding problems, which is why I'm employed. So
bring back the handshake deal and the napkin contracts in the bar.
Yeah, the one, just like the ones that would be written in my book is you said you'd do it. Your choices are get it done or, we'll fix it for good.
Excellent.
That's
awesome. All right. Question number 2 is, what is something that's on your bucket list?
So I'm going to put this one at the top. I have my bucket list should be called a tanker list or a swimming pool list or, a giant lake list. But bucket list, so kind of towards the top, I would really, really like to do the Camino Real de Compostela. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but there's all kinds of people since the Middle Ages that have walked across Spain to a cathedral on the coast called it's the Cathedral de Maria Compostela, something or other. But it's a hiking trail that there's actually 12 of them. So it depends on where you come from. You can go from Gibraltar all the way up. But the famous one is the Camino Real del Norte, which runs across the Pyrenees from Sevilla, all the way across the Pyrenees and across the northern coast of Spain, and then down the edge to the cathedral. And it takes about 3 months to walk it. It's a pretty long trek, and it's through the mountains, and you get to see some of the most beautiful parts of Europe. And it's got spiritual meaning and all sorts of stuff associated with it. So there you go. Bucket list, Camino Real de Compostela.
Awesome.
Going for a walk.
Like walkabout.
Walkabout.
Except for it's not a walkabout because there's a defined path.
Yeah.
But
that's it. I think
anyway, I would love to do that. I'd like to, and I'd like to do it with my son. He takes me out every year and tries to kill me on a mountain somewhere, and this would give him the whole string of it.
That's that's what my dad did when I was 12. He took me down to a national park, probably 3.5 hours from where I live, and said, "We're going to climb a mountain," and it was literally climbing a mountain, and I was crapping my pants the entire time.
It's good fun. So we've done the mountains so we did Glacier National Park. We've done all 5 national parks in Utah. We've done some in Idaho. We did Acadia National Park up in Maine, which, by the way, the cool thing on that one is we did the Cadillac Mountain Sunrise event. It's one that you can drive, but you have to put in for a tourist application like 6 months in advance. And, the guy who doesn't like doing his own paperwork did not do that. So what we did is we parked on the ring road for the park at about 2 a.m. and put on headlamps and then climbed the mountain in the dark to be there for sunrise. And that was a very cool thing to do.
Yeah. Awesome.
That would be good.
Now, granted, he's in his 20s, he's not 12.
Yeah.
He's at this point, I think he's 25. That one's 25. My other son is 28.
Yeah. Oh, well, speaking of mountains, I like a good segue. So this next question is related to your wonderful Mount Rushmore.
Oh, yes, Mount Rushmore.
So
you wanted to know Mount Rushmore of television shows.
That's it. What are you going to carve into the stones?
And for those of you who didn't pick it up, I'm a total cheater. I got this set of questions in advance, so I didn't.
Everybody knows.
But so The Sopranos, Peaky Blinders, Top Gear, and either Arcane or Blue Eye Samurai. I can't really pick on those 2 right now because they have. When I saw Arcane, I thought, "Holy shit, they did a really good job." I wasn't at all interested in League of Legends, but I saw the first Arcane and I was like, wow, they made some sense out of these ridiculous characters. And then with Blue Eye Samurai, I was floored with how well they did that. It's good storytelling. It's interesting. It's captivating. There's good, for those of you who haven't seen it, see it. It's a, by the way, and if you haven't seen either of those are both animated shows. But I think they're well worth your time. And if it weren't going to be any of those 4, I could give you a whole list of mysteries and criminals. And, I just watched Black Doves with Keira Knightley, which was pretty good. And Department Q before that, which was also pretty good. As you can tell, British crime, I'm a fan.
Yep.
Awesome.
The British do know how to do some good television.
They do. They do.
They do know how to act. And I'll say something that might be controversial. It might not even be very nice, but the thing that I really like about those shows is they don't try to make everybody perfect. Do I love Scarlett Johansson and Sydney Sweeney and all the really beautiful people that we like to put in our shows? Absolutely. I really do. But when you watch British shows, they manage to make people both real and attractive, and they're not 15, and they're not, that's one of the things I've always found really offensive about American supermodels and the leading actresses and stuff like that is they turn 23 and they're done. It's and that's just not life. All of our opinions of what people should look like are based on 30-year-old bodybuilders for men and 19-year-old, like Cameron Diaz made her first big show. She was 19. Keira Knightley, her first big show, she was like 18. I don't know the exact numbers, but we over-index on children and we put them in very old roles. And I would much prefer, it's something that the British do really well, is that people that should be in their 50s are in their 50s, and people that should be in their 30s are in their 30s. And a 19-year-old is 19, not playing the wife of a 40-year-old prime minister. Because we know there's some of that going on, but it's not realistic.
No, that's the kind of thing that pulls me out of post-apocalyptic films, because everyone's super attractive. It's like all the attractive people survived. And
that's the thing is, and you can also pick out in a Hollywood movie, and it's also true of Bollywood movies. So Hollywood and Bollywood, they both have this in common. By the way, Bollywood actors are also very, very pretty. But
we had one
the
on
prettiest
once.
person is going to be the hero, or they're going to survive. It's not, who's going to be most competent. It's like Denise Richards in James Bond. She's the 25-year-old nuclear scientist who served 10 years on a sub. You're 25. Did you start when you were 15? That stuff's kind of ridiculous to me. So anyway, there you go.
No, I totally agree. I do. Not everyone has to be pretty. We had people on last week who did a movie about cosplayers that start the zombie apocalypse, and they look like regular people. Like one of them, one or two of them are attractive, because I think that's usually what happens. But
a lot of them just normal real. Attractive is okay. We all know that if you go to the grocery store down the street from you, there'll be one person in the grocery store that, male or female, doesn't matter, but there'll be one that is jaw-droppingly attractive. But most people aren't. The idea that you can get together a group of your best friends that you grew up in high school with, and one's a loser and one's a jock and and they're all beautiful, and the fat girl is a size 10 instead of a size 4. That's just stupid. That's not real.
It is.
So I that's something that I appreciate about British movies is that they cast the people who can act, not necessarily the people who look good.
Otherwise we get Megan Fox.
They do look good, but they look much more normal.
Because I was watching some Netflix movie I watched recently called Damsel, and it's got Millie Bobby Brown. Now she's British, but she can't act.
Miley Bobby Brown.
She can't act though. She's just like,
well, she's like, what is she? I think she's
21.
She's 20 this year, something like that. And Damsel was 2 years ago,
something like that. Yeah, and it was
then it takes a year to film a movie.
Yeah.
and then 6 months to get it out. So she was probably 16 when she did that. And she's probably a great actor for a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
You know, that's like Hermione Granger, Emma Watson.
Yeah.
Judging her on her acting ability in Harry Potter. She was 11.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the fact that she got her lines out without flubbing them means she's a good actress.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah.
So judge people according to what they can and can't do. And, yeah. My biggest problem with Netflix shows is it seems like somebody knew how to write and then a committee got a hold of it.
That's it. That's totally true.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of the season ones are really, really good and amazing, and then season 2 comes along, and it's just like the writing goes skew weird.
Well, and there's another thing that goes with that. And let me ask you real quick, just on audio, are you picking up those sounds in the background?
No.
My son opened up a number of doors between us, so if I'm giving you extra sound, I'm sorry about that.
No, I can't hear anything.
All right. Well, if you can't hear it, then nobody else can either. So, actually, let me shut one door. I apologize.
You're right.
I thought there was a dog on the lounge back there. I could see it poking its head around.
Hello, doggy.
Hello,
What's
puppy.
your name? It's like, my name's Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
Like, what up? Then I would get up and goes, hello, I'm going to continue the interview for E.L. Montague.
I am the real E.L. Montague.
I control him.
I am sorry about that.
No, I was just saying to Jamie, I was glad when you stood up that your dog on the couch moved, because I thought I was seeing a ghost or something, because I'd see a little head move every so often.
My dog, so both of them are here. That's Bonnie and Clyde, which again kind of leads you to my views of the world. But they sit in my office with me whenever I'm here.
Yeah. I don't have an office because we have a very small house, but I'm in our bedroom because my wife is in the lounge room, and 9 times out of 10 I'll have my cat, who is surgically attached to my hip, either on the bed there or on my lap here, because she doesn't like to be apart from me. But she's sleeping in the sun at the moment because it's just after 11, so in the morning. So I thought I'll sneak into the room while she's sunning herself, and I said to my wife, if she starts scratching, and she starts scratching on the door, that's our blind, because if I open it, the sun would just make me look angelic.
Oh, I see. That's why it's a little brighter at the edges.
Yeah,
works out perfect. Works out perfect. Well, all right, So yes, I do have my dogs are here. I wasn't in my little thumbnail picture. I can't see them, so I didn't know you could.
No, I can just see the one that's on the couch. I can see its head, and that's it. But occasionally, when you would move your chair, the dog on the couch would move its head a little bit. And I was thinking, I didn't get much sleep last night. Am I seeing something that's not there? And then when you stood up, I saw the whole dog. I'm like, okay, I'm not going crazy.
Well, my dogs sit with me while we.
Awesome.
Well, they sit with me all day long. If I'm sitting at the computer, they're here, and since I write, I'll be at the office all day, and then in the evening I'll start writing or recording, and so they're in here a lot.
Awesome. Animal companionship does wonders for, like, I
love animals.
I was in hospital last year from June until March this year. And that was the longest I'd ever been away from my cats, especially the one that's surgically attached to my hip. She literally will not leave me alone. And then
that's why he was in hospital, to remove the cat.
To get away from. No.
I was going to say, I'm really sorry. 6 months in hospital is that's an unpleasant trip.
It was for a good cause, and I'm doing much better now, so that's the main thing. But I was really worried that. But when I came home, that my cat, would take a while to warm up to me, and because I'd been away for so long. But I literally came in the front door. We opened the bathroom door where they were just while I was coming in, and within like 5 minutes, she was straight back onto my lap, sleeping on me she literally won't let me go now. So
Well,
yes, I
animals
love
definitely
them.
know us, so
Absolutely, absolutely,
I'm not surprised by that at all.
So he's
absolutely.
All
going
right,
back.
so
He's
I
going
think where
back.
I left us, Mount Rushmore, Arcane, and
Yeah.
Top Gear. I love cars. I've always loved cars. When I played video games, it was the simulators that got me going, and so that's why that's there. And then the Sopranos and Peaky Blinders. That's the right kind of tenor.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
We've had The Sopranos a lot, and the other one,
You
Breaking
say
Bad.
we've heard The Sopranos a lot. Does that indicate you have not seen The Sopranos?
No, I
no,
watch
no,
it. I watch it
yeah,
once a
no,
year.
no, just
I
saying,
watch
like,
it.
yeah, people that come on the show say Sopranos a lot for their Mount Rushmore.
It's a very well produced
Mhm.
story, and it really does capture one little slice of Americana. Yeah,
It's
no, I
it's
like it. I think that's really well done.
it's my all-time favorite TV show. I watch it. I've watched it since it came out. I've watched it at least once a year. Because it's only 13 episodes for most seasons, so you can get through it pretty quickly. But yeah, me and my wife watch it at least once a year. Yeah, 100%. It's my favorite show of all time.
Well, I can certainly agree that it's well done.
Yeah.
Oh, and where I left us, I was giving you an answer to the second show, second season, but it's also
Yeah.
second novel. So
Mhm.
when you think about a debut novel versus a second novel, the second novel usually suffers, and in my opinion, that's because you spend a long time working and scraping and trying to get that first one right. And
Mhm.
it's a little less true with the indie space than it is with trad publishing. But you suffer and you suffer and you suffer and you work and you rewrite and then you edit and do everything you can to get it in the door. And then they say, "Great, we need another one in 6 months." You're like, dude, it took me forever to write that
Yeah.
one. What
Yeah.
makes you think I could reproduce that in like a fraction of the time?
Yeah.
In the indie space, it's a little different because you churn them out quicker.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that you get to see in the public with indie space is you get to see some people grow. And the best place I can think about that, one, you'll see it with mine. My work gets better as I go, and that's a good thing. I like it that I'm learning what I'm doing. I'm doing a better job. But if you were to look at ones like The Wandering Inn or Dungeon Crawler Carl, or those, their writing gets cleaner and faster and tighter the more they go, and that's because they churn it out so quick that we're literally watching them learn as they go. Now, Dungeon Crawler Carl's a little bit more polished than Wandering Inn, but Wandering Inn is, how much is she written? Well, I say she. I don't know if Pirate Abba is a boy or a girl, but like 5 million words or something like that in not much time. So you see a lot of development as they go.
Yeah. 100%. I even catch it with myself. Like when I write, because I'll do a first draft and then I'll go back and make changes and edits and all that stuff. But I'm finding when I go back, I'm changing less because I'm picking up on what I'm doing. So it's going to be a quicker process.
The more you do, the more you understand. It's any sort of expertise. The more you do something, the better you get at it. It's at bats, and one of the things that I think is great about publishing is that when you put something out, all the choices of going back and trying to fix things or change things, it's gone. It's done.
Yeah.
You publish that, you now live with it, and then anything you want to change about it has to be done in a future story because that's now canon.
Yeah.
Whatever stupid thing you said or mistake you made, you own.
Yeah.
It's yours.
Yeah.
Move on.
I mean, it's easier with indie because you can literally just re-upload manuscripts.
Well, you can re-upload manuscripts, but you also have to respect your readership. And now, granted, I don't have a giant readership, but the people who have invested their time in reading your stories will give you some grace about making corrections, but if you go change major elements or add characters or anything, they're going to be pissed.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a fast writer and you have to go back 3 stories to weave them into the story.
Yeah.
You know, if you haven't published, you can do that. But once you're published, you got to find another way to solve that problem you made.
Yep, that's it.
Spelling and grammatical errors I'm okay with, but if you change a character's name or their purpose and I have to go back, I'm like, I will call you out on it. And I'm talking directly to you, Jamie, because I read all your stuff before it goes to like publish.
Yeah.
If you change anything on me, and I've already invested, like Jamie's book Ancora has been out for a few months now, and he's written a prequel which comes out in November, I think.
End of November.
End of November. So I've read the prequel already because I'm essentially his beta reader. So I've read it, and I think it's great. But if you then went and changed like everything about it, because there was something that was changed, and I was like, I had to question you. I'm like, hold on, this was
I explained
quite different, and you did. You explained it. You explained it away. But yeah, I'm one of those people who gets pissed. I'm a completionist, so I will consume everything about the world if I love it. And if you go and change something,
well, I definitely want you to fall in love with my stories because there will be lots of them. you and I will have a good relationship. So you may have noticed if you went out and looked at the stuff that I've published a number of novellas and collections, and I've only published one full novel, but that's mostly because I'm biding my time. But all these novellas and short stories, those are spin-offs of novels. So every single thing that you've read of mine, there's a novel that uses those characters, because these are stories, you know, like To Catch a Witch. Sheila's just a character in the story, you know, in the bigger story. And this is me explaining to myself how she got to be who she was. Yeah. You know, how did she end out where she is in the bigger story? This is where she comes from. You know, this is how she got started and why she looks the way she does and has the character, you know, that she does. It's because of the stuff that happened in the novellas. Or, you know, you look across any of them. And if you were to look at the novellas and the collection of stories, it probably represents a dozen full novels. So.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Well, why don't we go to the next question, Ron, before we run out of time?
I'm not trying to guide us down the side.
No. We're all about tangents.
Yeah. So the next question is, what is your zombie apocalypse plan?
Well, ideally speaking, I would be able to get to the country house. I'm a little older. You can see I've got a beard. You know, I've got a lot of gray in the beard.
I'm catching up.
And so part of our retirement plan is to move away from the city. We'll have some land, and we already have a small house in the country, but the point was to get out where we want to buy land. And so I have a house kind of out, and we'd go out there, you know, so it's get away from the city, plenty of guns, you know, have some dry goods to get you started. But I mean, let's be real. Think about a zombie apocalypse. What's the most dangerous thing in a zombie apocalypse? People. Where do you want to be? Where the people are not. Yeah. Right. So the country is the way to go. And fortunately, I live in Texas where you can get away from people. And we're a populous state. There's a lot of people, but there's also a lot of land besides.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of room to spread out rather than being stuck in somewhere like LA, which is just all completely built up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, LA is built up and it's against a mountain. You'd have to get to the other side of the mountain before you get away. Whereas I just have to get out of town. Granted, Dallas is a pretty big place, but you know, we can do it.
You can do it. Awesome. All right, the final icebreaker question. Now, do you know Bill and Ted? Do you know Bill and Ted? Because a lot of people don't.
Oh, come on.
Awesome.
Again, gray in my beard.
That's it. All right.
Bill
Well,
and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I saw it in the theaters opening weekend.
Oh wow.
amazing. Oh, that would have been amazing. I think I was like 5 when it came out. So
So I've got more gray than you do.
yeah, I'm gray. And I started going gray 10 years ago.
Oh no, I see you're going gray, but I've got 10 years on you at least.
Yeah, that's all right.
And the funny thing about Jamie is I'm actually older than Jamie is, and I am yet to find any gray hairs at all on my head or in my beard. So
you know, it's a little bit of it's hereditary, a little bit of it's stress, and you know, I had my best friend's mother when I was in high school was steel gray all the way through. I mean, she had the hair of an 80-year-old, and she was in her 40s.
Wow.
And when I asked her about it, she said she went completely gray by the time she was 28.
Wow.
So,
That's crazy.
and you know,
Yeah,
that's
there you
hereditary. You know, it just happens.
There you go. So
Yeah. All right. So I know Bill and
Ted.
Ted, and I know the question you're going to ask me.
So Bill and Ted rock up outside your house in their phone booth time machine and say, "Well, Ted, Rufus asked us to give you a free ride in our phone booth time machine. Where are you going?"
Oh, we're going into the future.
Oh.
So let's be real. The best day in the world is today, and if it's not today, it's tomorrow. The one thing that we know across the great arc of history is it just keeps getting better. Granted, if you make a bad choice on the specific day, you might end out in an ugly spot. I mean, we'll still have wars, we'll still have suffering, but 100 years from now, I think would be a good time. The reason I say 100 is close enough that I won't just be lost, you know, because at a sufficient distance, you can't even communicate. Like if you and I went back to London in 1530,
you couldn't speak the same language.
Speak English, but we don't speak that English. We wouldn't be able to get along. We wouldn't understand. We would all be giants, you know, with our modern diets having made us too tall and too heavy. And so we'd be very out of place. But within 100 years of where we are now, we probably are not going to be lost. Although, I mean, if you think about, so what is it? We're 2025, so 1925, jet airplanes, television, computers, cell phones, smartphones. I mean, it's a pretty big difference, but we speak pretty much the same language. We look a lot of the same. So I think 100 years in the future, we'd probably make it. And I'd love to see what was out there. Because if we make the same kind of jumps from today to 100 years from now, it's going to be a pretty marvelous place. Now, if you tell me I have to go back, okay. So I got 3 answers for you. Okay. The official answer is the 100 years in the future. Yeah, because I think that's where we get the most. The second one would be if I could go back to the summer of 2013 or 2012 and buy Bitcoin. And that comes from a story in the summer of it was either 2012 or 2013. I was in Seattle and I got an opportunity from a friend who thought it would be funny to buy Bitcoin. You know, for $100, we could have bought like, gosh, a ton, thousands of Bitcoins. Because I think in 2012 it was selling for like, you know, 100 a penny or something like that. It was very, very small. And I had thought at the time, I even made a plan to do it, that if I bought a Bitcoin, I could just get like $100 of Bitcoins and then give away 10,000 Bitcoins to my friends and, you know, just make it like a joke. Here's, you know, if I had done that by 2016, we would have all been millionaires.
Wow.
You know, think about it. If I bought at 100 bits per penny, that would be 10,000 per dollar. Man, I would have had like 1 million Bitcoins, and Bitcoins are trading at what now? $19,000 or $16,000 or whatever it is.
Something like that. Yeah.
It's wild. And the only reason I didn't buy it is that, I was driving at the time that I got the offer. I laughed about it, said, sure, let's do it. And then I drove up to the client that I was working at, and I went inside and I had a meeting and I forgot. And I even laughed about it a couple of other times. And it just, it was a laugh. So I wasn't doing it. And then within a year, I was like, God, so stupid. I should have bought that. But, and then third answer is, if we wanted to really go back, I'd like to go to Rome and London. Not like in Rome where all the crazy stuff was going on, but I think London, Londinium 100 AD or whatever would be fascinating, especially if I could get out, because there'd be a point where all the disease and danger and, all that would get to me. But at least for a bit, I think that would be really fascinating.
Cool.
I like that.
Have I given you wholesome enough answers?
Yes,
Yeah,
they've been great.
yeah.
You've passed. I think Ryan, has he passed?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
I mean,
Well,
he
there you go.
he did say The Sopranos was one of the greatest shows of all time, so that pretty much gives you a pass anyway.
Oh, I got the check mark there. Yeah. No, I'm a big fan.
Jamie still hasn't watched it ever.
I've seen bits and pieces.
That's not watching it though, man.
So I don't know what your thought on crime families are, but the first episode, just don't even watch anything else. Just that first episode. I think, and Ryan, you can straighten me out on this. The first episode includes the guy on the train and the first psychology meet with the psychologist, right?
Correct.
It's essentially the train, go to the psychologist, and open up the story. I think that's episode 1, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely.
If you watch that episode, it captures the whole idea.
Yeah.
The way it's set up is, it literally initially was about a high level mobster, because he wasn't the boss at that time. The high level mobster having panic attacks and
I
seeing
would
a
call him
psychiatrist.
middle management.
Yeah, middle
Like
management.
the top of the bottom, or I would call him the top of the middle. So he was as high as you could go in middle management before he became an executive.
Yes, correct. And then he was having a panic attack. He passed out at a family gathering and went to a psychiatrist. And then it just all expanded from there. Then you've got all the internal family struggles. Like it's such a good show. Like I have watched it so many times that I can quote so many lines when it comes up, literally word for word. It's just one of the best shows I have ever seen in my entire life.
So I don't know if this has been said before by anybody, because I'm not somebody who spends a lot of time with analysis, but Sopranos captured the feeling, I don't know if it's the emotional heart, but the feeling of a man, like a father, not, and this isn't losing mothers or anything like that. It's, they get their parts of the story too, but the center of the Sopranos, because Tony Soprano is the center, is a father at the point where he realizes he has no control over anything, and yet he's responsible for everything.
Exactly.
So he has to hold the family together. He has to keep the job. He has to do horrible shit that he doesn't like. He has to, his daughter's growing up and his son's a useless turd, and his wife is an endless amount of pressure, and it's just like pressure. And it's about what it is to the whole show is what it is to be a man.
Yep.
And so every scene, every episode, if you are a man or a father, you recognize that scene. Even when you're like murdering people, you're like, I totally understand his decision. Even if you never do that, even if you're a decent person, it's the struggles of loving your wife and being attractive to, I mean, if you run a string of strip joints, you're going to be around a lot of young women. I mean, it's everything. Pressures from the boss, pressures from your peer groups. Did I screw that up? Did you get the work right? Are you going to get the sale? It's just everything. And it's just every episode, they just crank the pressure down on Tony, and he has to figure out some way to hold it all together. And just, it's a masterpiece of empathy for a middle-aged man.
100%. And to give you an example of exactly what you're saying there is, I think one of my favorite episodes is in season 1 where he's on a college trip with his daughter. So his daughter's going to college.
Yes, and word comes to follow him in it.
Yeah, exactly. He's literally he's taking his daughter to different schools along this route. Just him and his daughter, and he sees someone who is in witness protection that ratted out a lot of.
He finds a rat.
Yeah, exactly. And this guy used to be part of the mafia, and he sold out, and he was given a new life. And so Tony's trying to be able to take this guy out, as well as still be there for his daughter and still take her to the colleges, and still, she ends up getting drunk and he's still looking after her while he's trying to figure out how to murder this guy. And it just encapsulates, the role of being a father.
It's a great episode, but that episode captures the moment where you're trying to protect your child from the world.
Yep.
But you still have to live in the world.
Yep.
And, at that point, she doesn't know he's a mobster. She doesn't know he's a murderer. She doesn't know there's people out there that will kill her to get to him. It's just goodness all the way through. I'm sorry, you didn't really call me on here to
talk
have
Sopranos.
Welcome
to the
fan
Sopranos podcast
on Sopranos.
Yeah, but no, I always, it was something I bonded over with my dad, because me and we lost my mum about 16 years ago, and me and my dad kind of bonded a lot after that. And The Sopranos was a show that we would watch together, and we would watch, even when mum was alive, me and him would sort of watch it, but we'd watch it separately. But then when she passed away, it was something that he'd go, "Oh, I'm going to start watching The Sopranos again. Do you want to watch it with me?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course." And it was something that we bonded over, and we still do to this day, even though he lives 3 hours away and he's retired, he lives on his own, but we still talk about The Sopranos whenever we get together, and he'll go, "Oh, do you remember this episode?" and all that kind of thing. It was just, it was for me as well. I think that's why it's such a good show, because it is a good show, and I had that bonding moment with my father in watching that, and I have so many good memories about that as well.
Well, and of course, part of what we're talking about is the power of story. It is a good story, but the people who told that story created a world in your mind and your father's where the two of you can relate on common ground. And one of the things that's really great about storytelling is not only do you create that common thread for everybody, but you create worlds where people can relate to each other without dealing with our world. When you're loving on it, when you're fanning over one of your stories, when you're talking about Brandon Sanderson, or you're doing Patrick Rothfuss, or you're, by the way, if you guys haven't read J.L. Odom or had her on, excellent storytelling. That's a whole nother world you should get into. But, one of these stories creates a bridge between people where it doesn't matter if you're on the opposite side of political beliefs. It doesn't matter if you can't see eye to eye. That's one of the things that's really great about storytelling is you create a space that tells universal truth and just cuts away all the bullshit of the world where we live. And, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Well, let's segue into what we're supposed to be talking about, and that's you. So what is your author origin story? Obviously, me and Ryan are massive comic book fans, and we love hearing origin stories. So what's yours?
I've always loved storytelling. I as a kid, I told more stories than I could back up quite a bit. But I love telling stories, and I love the old guys telling their stories about back in the war, or
Yeah.
my grandfather's stories, or when they were kids, and I loved the way that you could capture people and pull them in and create something for them. And so I've always liked the idea of storytelling. I've had several runs at it over the years. I sold my first, my first piece. I sold while I was still in college, and I got paid a professional rate, and it was a big help. But I couldn't repeat because I wasn't actually that good. It's one thing to have promise, and it's another thing to have talent and competence are not the same thing. And so I had a big mouth, and I knew how to tell a story, and I knew how to capture people's interest, but my ability to execute consistently and often really wasn't there. And so I made a shot. I wrote when I was in high school and stuff, and didn't really go anywhere. And I took creative writing in college. It was the one course that I didn't have to have, but I took every semester. So I took creative writing and worked on it all through college. And I made a go at selling some work in the market, and I little bit in terms of short stories, but nothing really, and certainly nothing to support a family. And then I got out and I got to work, and then it became a hobby in the background. But what you all see from me today really comes from when my son was 16, 17, he decided he wanted to be a writer. And so I volunteered to him. I was like, look, if you really want to write, the thing that you need is at bats, and I'll write with you. We'll just give each other prompts, and I'll help you get started. Write anything you want. We'll just do a prompt. I'll write something. And so we started writing together, and he really wanted me to give it another go because he knew I liked it. This is my younger son. And so actually, connection, you guys are in Australia, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a big believer in having goals. And so once I saw that he could write, and I always enjoyed writing, I said, let's find some little publication, a call for an anthology or something like that, and see if we can't get accepted. So he and I did the Zombie Pirates anthology. They did an every year, and the Zombie Pirate, the reason I said that is one's in Perth and the other one is in Sydney, I think.
Okay.
But the two guys that ran that, so they put out, I don't know, maybe 20 books, and then they fell apart. But while they were doing it, they did a bunch of anthologies. And every year that they were together, they did an annual contest where you got the prompt on day one, and 15 days later, you had to provide a finished story up to 10,000 words. So we did that together. And I wrote a story that actually became the core of what is the Near Earth series. But I wrote a story for it, and he wrote a story, and we both got accepted. And that's what kicked this off. So then I wrote a number of stories for the Zombie Pirates, and I put in for anthologies and stuff, which, by the way, in the indie space, anybody that's doing anthologies and giving a space to new writers to do something, that's God's work, guys. You're doing great things. There's nothing quite as encouraging as being accepted. And that kept me going for a bit. But then, after I started taking these works to much longer pieces, I thought about whether or not I wanted to go trad or indie. And I had thought pretty hard about going traditional, but my son was thinking about doing indie, and I thought, well, I won't let him take any swings that I'm not willing to take myself. So I started down that path, and 8 books later, no, I'm still going, and I got a 9th coming out in a month.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Amazing. Cool. So what's your writing process like with that? Like, do you just compile as many ideas as possible, take them one at a time, or you just write as they come?
I am somebody who can write right now. If I were to start writing, I would have a story. And I don't have to sit down with an idea. I just start writing. But usually speaking, what happens for me, so I'm a total pantser.
Yeah.
I'm not a total pantser. I'm absolutely a pantser, but once I get something started, I'll start writing stuff down.
Yeah.
Now, the trick about that is it has this look of an outline, but I never do what's in the outline. It's like yeah. Because what happens is you start writing a scene and creating characters, and you create problems for yourself. And then you say, this is how I can solve the problems.
Yeah.
And I think faster than I can write, and I write pretty quick. So I'll get to a point where I'm writing a scene, but as I write the scene, I'm like, I have to account for these things. And so I'll write them on a board. I have a whiteboard up here that, a dry erase board that I have. It's just full of stuff that's on there. And so I'll start writing down, remember, these things have to be accounted for.
Yeah.
And then I'll write myself right past it. And I'll go erase the whiteboard. So that's why it's on a dry erase board. But what the dry erase board does for me is it helps to focus my problem solving. And even though I don't use it, it's a reminder. And, as an example, right now I've got, I don't know, it looks like 40 things that need to happen in a novel that I'm writing under another name. And that's because I set it down. I got to a point and I'm in the exciting conclusion, and I'm like, here's all the things that I need to tie up. But I wrote them down because I had to switch stories to another story, and I haven't lost that story because the 40 things I have to solve for are on the board. And the second I start writing, I can look at the board and I'm like, oh yeah. And then I'm back in the story. But I guarantee by the time I get to the second bullet point, I will have changed 20 bullet points below. I'll add and I'll take away. So that wasn't a wholesome answer. It was an interesting answer, perhaps to some people, but the real answer, how do I write? I think of an event or a character that I want to play with, and I'll start telling the story, and then the story sprawls from there. And the reason that I have to think about all the things that need to happen is I often think of the climax. I want to see somebody choke somebody out. Well, I have to get them to the point that they're going to choke them out, and then it has to make sense. And, and so I have to backward think, how do I get them into the spot? Yeah. And sometimes it's right in the middle. Or I think it's the end, but when I write it down, it's like, oh, but if I do all this, then all this happens. And, and so you start sprawling out and writing the characters. And have you guys read any of my stuff at this point?
No.
No, I have your
that's fine.
Secrets book fine. 1 on my list.
So I will tell you, they're infinitely digestible. They go down quick. Kind of like strong whiskey, not like Kool-Aid, but so there's lots of violence, lots of grit, pretty graphic. But they have a plot line that'll pull you through real quick. Yeah. And a lot of them are relatively short. So they're, like the novellas you should be able to read in 1 or 2 sittings. You'll sit down, it should grab you and pull you through. Yeah. And by the way, if it doesn't grab you, that's okay. If it doesn't grab you, set it to the side.
And read one of your other
an honest
books.
DNF is okay. But so I'll sit down and I'll start writing it, and then I have to create the story that supports it. And I am prolific with characters. I really like people. I like interesting things. And when you're talking about bad people, there's so many interesting things you can have them do, but I don't want them all in one character. There's all that advice out there about you can get rid of a character by combining their their skills. I'm like, yeah, but this isn't stupid stories where the same guy can drive the car, shoot the gun, get the girl, bake the cake, you know, and sing in the choir with grandma on Sunday. You know, that's not real. Not that all those things don't need to happen, but as soon as you do that with one character, it's just like, yeah, right. It's Mary Sue in reverse. So I tend to have a lot of characters in my stories. So that's, you know, my process is I start from a scene or a character, and then I build a story around them. You know, I want to explore a power, or I want to explore a murder. Maybe I want to have a couple of people have sex, you know, whatever the thing is that has my interest at the moment, I do that. And then as soon as I start writing it, the story explodes around it. And at any given time, you know, like right now I've got 3 epic series that cover multiple novels just swimming around up here. And if you set me down and I start writing, I might come up with another one on accident.
Yeah. That's like me. Like I had all these books planned out. I got a list like on the back of I got a bookshelf in front of me. And I got a post-it note, and it's got these are the projects to work on. I've just thrown them aside, and I was watching a lot of John Wick, and I came up with an idea for a story, and now that's up the top.
So I have when you think of the stories of the Temra, and I can, that's what a lot of these novellas are coming from. But they're based on characters in the main story. Nobody's seen the main story yet.
Yeah.
The idea that started that off was a babushka doll of the hero's journey. And what I mean by that is I wanted to tell the hero's journey of a father and son that went around and back. So essentially the father starts the story and takes it to the midpoint, and then the son finishes the story and takes it back. Basically it's a world spanning fight between commoners and magic. So magi and commoners. So you divide them into the 2 peoples. The world was once ruled by the magi. The commoners rose up, murdered them all, chased them all out of everywhere. And then this main character becomes a central point that raises an army of the dispossessed to go take their world back. Wow. And then when he gets to the point that he's taken the world back, and he dies and his son is there to see it, his son realizes that what they did is made a mess of the world, and he has to go fix it.
Wow.
So that's the story in reverse. And one of the core elements is that throughout, from book 1 to book 12, which is the father's story, the son doesn't know that he's his actual father. He thinks he's his adopted father.
Oh, okay.
Because there's in book 1, and I have written book 1 and 2, but in book 1 there is a fallout because of place in society between the father and mother, and she casts a spell on him that gives him amnesia and then raises the son as her own. But so the first several novels are the father, his name is Eldred, having an itch that he's supposed to do something and find something. And of course it's the woman that he loves and his only son. And so he's hunting her down to find her, and then they reconcile, and then she dies, and then he raises her son as his adopted son, but it's actually his son. And he knows that, but the boy does not.
Cool.
In the context of being chased all across the world by an army that's out to wipe out the Magi.
Yeah, that's it. Well, what I want to do is I'm going to bring up some of your covers. I just grabbed 3 at random. I think they're your most recent, because Ryan likes to talk about art, and these books.
I like to talk about art too. So let's go. Yeah. So what you have is 2 from the Temra and 1 from Near Earth. So To Catch a Witch, that novella. Well, I'll let you ask the stories because we're talking about art.
Yeah, so generally, I grew up um, with comics from when I was a little, 8-year-old kid, up until now. I still read comics every day. Storytelling's obviously gotten a hell of a lot better, but the art has always been fantastic. Whether what era you're looking at, it's always been great. So my thing is, um, with the art, did you use the same artist for all of your work, and or is it something that you've done yourself? Did you come up with the concept? How did that all work?
So it's a collaboration.
Okay.
You've got 2 of 3 artists. I can hold up one of the other artists here as well. So this one is, I don't know if you can see that clear or not.
Yeah.
That's the other artist. So this is Felipe Braccioli. He is a video game artist. He does concept boards and that kind of stuff, but he'll do independent work on the side. The Incident at Peeling Head and Only Death Lies That Way are both done by Anas Arzak out of Indonesia. He's an anime artist, so he's just finishing up with school, but he's done internships with some of the big anime houses. And he's really good. I really enjoy working with him. And then Sheila there. So you'd heard me say her before. That's a picture of Sheila. That was done by Vladimir Solnishko, who was out of the Ukraine. But obviously with everything going on in the Ukraine, I'm not working with him right now. And then, we also have Dennis Belinsky. I almost forgot. Sorry, Dennis. And Dennis Belinsky did this one, and he's actually done the cover of Tommy the Unburnt, which is an unpublished right now. It'll be the one I do probably in February. But I have that cover. I just haven't published that one yet. So in each of these cases, the thing that I did is I went out into the market to find artists that I could work with. Excuse me. To find artists that I could work with. And then what I did is I looked for portfolios that I liked. I asked if they'd be willing to work with me and if I could have a copy of their portfolio. And based on that, I then asked if they'd be willing to read a scene and tell me if they could do something from a scene. And in each case, they read a scene. In the case of To Catch a Witch, I gave a specific scene and what he liked. He came back to me. We talked about it. We agreed that a portrait of Sheila would be captivating because people like faces.
Yep.
And we thought that a good portrait of her would pull people in. And I just love what he did with the magic. So that you're aware, in my stories for the Temra, magic, it burns. So it runs through the veins, and magic is black. And so when they cast, their eyes go dark and their veins start to carry magic. So the reason she's marbleized like that is because there's magic in her veins. And when she settles down, she'll go back to just normal, except for her fingers will turn black. At any rate, so I give them a scene. We talk about it. In the case of Sheila, we did a portrait of Sheila, and the black striations is magic. Her fingertips will be black too, because that's what happens is that at the farthest extremity, the magic builds up. And so as they become older or more powerful, or they cast more, the magical build up in their skin and across their arms, and they'll turn black. In the Incident at Peeling Head, Anas, he actually did Only Death Lies That Way first, but in both cases, he's done several covers for me. And in both of those, he's like, just give me the story. He's just give me the story. I'm going to read them. So he read the whole story for me, and then came back to me and proposed scenes that inspired him. That's actually kind of encouraging when an artist doesn't, they read what you write and they're like, kind of into your story, so can I just read the whole thing and then come back to you? And so in each case, they'll provide me with 3 or 4 samples, and we talk about them. And sometimes we'll end out combining scenes. So they'll say, how about this and how about that? And I say, well, can we do this? What you did here, can we do it in that one and then make a change? So like in this one, he provided me with 4 different scenes, and we combined some of them, but he's the one that came up with the color palette. And I really like this cover. I really like these covers. I've been very lucky with my artists that we have landed at something that tells a part of the story.
Yeah, no, they are very stunning.
Yeah.
The To Catch a Witch really, really grabs me.
Portraits do pull people in, and a very pretty girl, obviously.
That's it. Well, she's a witch, right?
She is a witch.
Yeah. I tend to lean more toward, like, I love seeing the back of a character. Like, that's what I do with my books mainly, because it leaves a little bit of mystery at the same time. But no, I mean, I really like what S.S. Fitzgerald does too with here. His Sinner's Past cover is amazing because it's that intrigue.
I'm always jealous of everybody's covers, but I've been very fortunate to find some artists that'll work with me. And one of the decisions that I made, and I don't know if it's a good decision or not, is mine aren't exactly like what you'd see on other covers. Yeah. If I was pure marketing, they would say, look at everything that sells well in your area, fit generally in that space because those are the ones that work. Yeah. For me, I'm just like, dude, I want a picture that I'm happy with. I want, so, Sheila there, I've got a copy of her and a portrait up on the seal, on the wall over here. And I want all of these to be a piece of art that I'm happy with. God, I paid plenty for them.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. And like
I paid enough money for them, so I want them to be really good.
And I sometimes I don't get the whole, like especially with trad publishing, like, oh, this is what sells. Like, you gotta this genre. It's got to be like this. It's got to be like that. But then you walk into a bookshop and they all look the same.
Well, so
so
professionally, I can tell you a little bit about that. People are, we're difference engines.
Yeah.
We want to find stuff. And so it has to look like what you want in order for people to look. And so if you look too different from what they expect, you may have the best answer and they just don't ever look because it didn't fit their expectation.
Yeah.
My biggest problem is that I'm a fairly graphic writer.
Yeah.
My violence is violent. My sex is on the page. I curse and you look at the incident at Peeling Head, and that's got a little bit of a youthful presentation. Well, on page 2, this character is cutting skin off the back of that character. Just so we're really clear, on page 2.
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is that's supposed to be Mike Molman in his evil bastard presentation. I actually gave photographs of Mike Molman to
that's awesome.
to Anas, and he created a portrait for that. It was really kind of fun. At any rate, so I present a younger image than my writing.
Yeah.
And that's probably going to get me in trouble someday. There's a lot of violence, a lot of roughness in these. Now I tell them, I put warnings right in the front. And I'm like, this is not for children. The first thing I say in all of my books is I do not write for children.
Yeah.
But I do the covers that I like. And hopefully what happens is somebody starts liking what I write, and then they just know, hey, that really cool cover, that's going to be, that's going to be EL and it's going to be graphic and violent.
Yeah. Well, if people know anime and you've got an anime artist kind of to do it, anime isn't always friendly.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, anime, I recognize that, but I'm selling to English speakers. So
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I very much have enjoyed the process of getting my art done.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it stands out. And that's what I always go for. I want something that stands out, you know? And if I was in a
I
bookshop and
appreciate
I
that.
saw
Thank you.
these, I'd be stopping. You know, I think
Well, and that's what I hope is that people look at the books and they want to pick it up, if nothing else.
yeah.
I've actually had somebody tell me, I didn't read your book, but I wanted it on my shelf,
Well,
you
okay.
know,
Well, that's
and, whatever. Did you give me the money? I'm fine. Please,
that's it.
please. I need 10,000 people to buy everything I write. I don't
Yeah.
care if you read it. I
Yeah.
do care. I would really like
You'd
for
like
people to
to.
read
Yeah.
what I write
Yeah.
and tell me that it's wonderful. But
Yeah.
if 10,000 of you will buy everything I sell, we'll be okay. I can do a lot of it.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, that's the hardest thing is to find people that actually read your
Yeah.
stuff. Because like I joke about this all the time. Like I'm about to publish my 5th book, and people only ever buy and read the first one. You know, it's just
So one of the things I'm really curious about, it's a truism. I don't know if it's true,
Mhm.
but it is a truism that the best sales pitch for your book is your next book.
Yeah.
And
I can vouch for
there's
that.
theoretically pull through that, every time you release, you
Yeah.
pull through some of the ones before.
Yeah.
I don't know. It is true that my first book is sold more than all the rest of them, but I don't know. I don't know if it's just because it's been out longer,
Yeah.
or I don't know what drives it. I think I'm still at that stage in storytelling that I'm finding the people that like me.
Yeah.
Because every story has the audience that's waiting for it,
Yeah.
and I just have to find the ones that like what I write, and then I'll be fine.
Yeah.
But I enjoy writing, so I'll just keep churning them out, and
That's it.
maybe I'll have a big catalog by the time those people find me.
That's it. Well, because once it's out there, like you can find your book in the middle of a bookshop somewhere, a secondhand bookstore. We have this thing. I don't know if they do it over in the States, but we have like local. It's like a bookshop in the middle of town.
Oh yeah,
Community.
resellers. We've got like secondhand books and
Yeah.
half price
Well,
books and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
well, this is just like a bookshop. Like it's a book shelf sitting there, and it's free.
Oh,
Like it's like
like
a
like a
library. It's like a
put
library.
one, leave one, or
Yeah.
take one,
Yeah.
leave one kind
Yeah,
of place.
that
Yeah,
sort of
we
thing.
do
Yeah.
those things.
I went down there and put my book on there, and when I went back the next day, it wasn't there. So,
That's actually a pretty good idea.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
because
I
people,
should do that myself.
I've thought about leaving them in cafes and just leaving them in random places, and then
Since I spend a lot of time in airports, I've very much thought about just taking one everywhere with me and leaving it in
yeah,
the airport.
yeah, because like you never know. Like, I mean, I had someone in my town, who's friends with my mom, who has a sister up in like a 40-hour drive away. And she
Right.
was on the phone saying, "Oh, I just read this book. It's really good." And then she was talking about my book. And then and then she's like, "I know the author. He lives up the road from me." It's just like
That's great.
they're the best stories. It's
Oh,
just
those are great stories. Yeah, and like another thing that'll happen for you every now and then is the first time somebody does fan art for you.
yeah,
That's that's great. I mean, you're putting your world in people's minds when they read your stories.
yeah,
That
yeah,
at least you hope that happens. But when somebody's inspired to spend the time, sit down
mm,
and do a piece of art, that's pretty cool.
yeah. That hasn't happened to me yet. I mean, a lot of my books come with art, so, but
It's only happened for me a few times. It's in my mind because somebody posted one on X today
mm,
that was based on Only Death Lies That Way. This one,
oh, cool. That's
they
awesome. Yeah,
they posted their imagining of the climactic scene, and I think it's pretty awesome.
yeah,
Pretty fantastic.
awesome. Well, why don't we jump into this game that we like to play with all of our authors to wrap the show up?
Done and done. Let's go.
I'll bring up the picture to let you know what's going in. Now, you are the last one to play this version of this game, so...
Oh, so I have to do better than everybody else.
No, well,
I'm the penultimate.
No, there's a new updated version coming because we got too much overlap.
All right.
But the game is called Story Pitch. So we're basically
Awesome.
going to give you parameters of these 4 areas: setting, genre, main character's profession, optional edition, but it's apparently not optional. Everyone does it. So basically, we're going to get you to give us a number between 1 and 6 for each, and then we'll give you the parameters, and you're going to pitch us a story, just like a back cover blurb, or, well, we had someone act it out once, so that was very interesting. But
is 0 a number or just 1 and 6?
No, just 1 to 6. So
all right, 12, 13. 1, 2, 1, 3.
1, 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 1, 3. You got that, Ryan? First graph. Okay, so your setting is a space station.
1, 2, 1, 3.
Yeah.
All right, I've got a space
your
station.
genre is sci-fi.
Oh wow, look at that work out. Your main character is a super spy.
And your optional extra, which is something that needs to appear, is a talking animal sidekick.
We've just given you Guardians of the Galaxy. How did that happen?
Well, technically he wasn't a spy. He was more of a treasure hunter.
Yeah.
Bad guy. All right. So what's funny is that in Near Earth, one of my characters is a spy master for the androids. But let's see. So I got to give you a story pitch based on these settings.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to tell the story of an industrial spy who is at Saturn Station, and he has to learn where the location of the next helium-3 mines will be for the H3 syndicate.
Mm-hmm.
And his talking animal sidekick is going to be no, that wouldn't work. Actually, why not? So in Winds of Mars, one of the characters is introducing wolves to Mars because they've discovered that the forest won't grow without animals to do their part, and a keystone species of any giant forest is a top end predator. So he's captured Yellowstone wolves and he's released them in the forests on Mars, which the forests on Mars are there to create oxygen. Mm-hmm. So we'll give him a talking wolf, a big black brindled wolf. We'll give him an orange coat brindle. Are you guys familiar with the term brindle?
It sounds
so when
familiar.
Somebody says brindled wolf, it means striped.
Okay.
So if you see a dog or a wolf that has striping to their fur, it's called it's a brindle.
Okay.
So he's got a brindled wolf with a really dark orange, kind of like. Have you guys ever seen a black tiger? So the tigers that have, instead of orange and white stripes, they've got orange and black stripes. It's extremely rare.
Wow.
Super cool looking. There's one in National Geographic from, I don't know, a month or two ago, but very cool looking animals. So we're gonna give him a brindled wolf as a companion, and his cover is that he is part of the oxygen syndicate, and he is in their waste disposal. So shows up on Saturn Station. So you hear me say H3 syndicate and oxygen syndicate. Basically, my premise of space fair. There's got to be a reason to be in space.
Mhm.
The big corporations are mining space. And so H3, they're looking for H3, which is a fuel. It's hydrogen 3. But then you also have people that mine oxygen and farm the galaxy for water. Water is going to be super important in space. And then you have iron and magnesium and all those. So they go for rocks and planets, and they have licenses from the Triplanet Federation to mine the universe for different elements. Because we all know that in reality, governments are not going to run space. It's going to be corporations.
That's it.
And they end up being like the East India Company. They have their own armies and everything. So our guy, and what's a good name for an oxygen spy? He's going to have grown up on Camp Armstrong on the moon. He's never been to Earth, so he's a spacer. And let's name him
Mike Molman.
Mike Molman is forever a villain. In every story, Mike Molman that I put him in, he's going to be a villain. He's going to be a right bastard, and I'm probably going to kill him. It's kind of a joke. I'll make him like they killed Kenny in South Park.
Yeah.
You just have him turn up and get killed there. Okay, so the space station is going to be Saturn Station.
Yep.
The premise is that he has to find out where the next mine is going to be for the H3 syndicate. And he is working with a talking companion, which is a dog. They're there as waste disposal. And the reason that he has to find out about the mine is he's got to plummet for oxygen. So it's going to be a part of a unit that gets out there to provide oxygen to him. We can have them run into the underworld that is giving access to the docking bays, and we can give him an android prostitute as a love interest. And then yes, my wife just came home. Hello, wife. A podcast. So anyway, sorry about that, guys.
All right.
So that's our premise. We've got to find out about the H3 syndicate. We're going to fall in love with an android prostitute. We're going to have a brindled wolf as our sidekick, and we'll make Mike Molman the local mobster who's going to prevent us from getting our ships into dock so that we can become a part of the mission.
Excellent. I think I really need to start putting particular names on the editions. You must include Mike Molman. You must include Tim McKay. You know, it'd be very funny.
Yeah. And then I'll come up with an inventive way to do them. And if I were to write this, I'd start with the scene where the android prostitute comes up to him at a table and asks about the wolf.
Excellent.
I would start writing from there, and then the story would sprawl.
All right. Lock it in. It's your next story. Do you want to do one more? Because there's multiple graphs, should I say? Sure,
we can do one more, and that way you've got some coverage that doesn't include me telling my wife that I'm doing a podcast.
That's all right. Which graph do you want to do, Ryan? The second or the third?
The third.
Third. All right. Okay, so you can give us the same numbers because we have a different graph, or you can give us new numbers. It's entirely up to you.
Let's go with 1806.
8.
Oh wait, if I give you 1806, I'm going to get Space Station again, right?
No, it's a different graph.
So let's go with.
It's a different graph.
4806.
Okay. 4, 8.
It can't be 48 because it's 1 to 6.
Yeah.
4806.
There's no
8.
Oh, there's no 8. Oh,
it's 1 through 6.
Okay. I really have to do a better job of paying attention. Let's go with 6241.
6241. Okay, so your setting is an enchanted forest.
Ooh.
Okay. Your genre is cyberpunk.
Okay.
Okay, main character is a mad scientist.
All
And
right.
what was the last number?
1.
1. And your optional addition you must include is Godzilla.
Gojira! All right. So, if it's the mad scientist, our mad scientist, Mike Molman, is in a cyberpunk
Yes.
universe where he's in an enchanted forest that is lorded over by the great Godzilla, who is trying to prevent man from destroying the forest. And Mike is trying to find a rare mineral that is rumored to be in the forest. So it's going to put him in direct conflict with Godzilla. And as a bonus, he's going to bring along his henchman Ro, who
Yes.
who has a penchant for killing people before they finish telling him what he was looking to find out. So just as Mike starts beating on him and getting the information, Ro's going to accidentally kill him, and they're going to go through bodies one after another.
Okay. I love it. And it's funny because the last time what was it? We had EL Lions on, and she got the Enchanted Forest and the Mad Scientist as well. So it's an EL thing.
It's an EL thing. I bet hers was more interesting since she spends a lot of time in Enchanted Forest.
That's it.
But I think Godzilla is a pretty good enchantment, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Well done. I'm very happy with those.
Cheers.
Definitely.
Cheers.
There's no what do they say? Like when Mike Mullen does the creature creation, you're free to use these stories in any way you wish. It's not.
Oh, trust me. They fit right into the kind of world that I am. I've always enjoyed cyberpunk. I haven't really told a cyberpunk story, mostly just because I haven't had the right moment. But I really enjoy the stories. I loved Neuromancer. You know, I liked The Matrix. I would say The Matrix is definitely cyberpunk, even though it's really well, it's really not cyberpunk. It's cyberpunk-esque.
Yeah.
But you know, I've always really enjoyed that stuff. I just hadn't had a story there yet. Maybe I'll have to write a short. And then dang it, guys, you'll give me a whole nother world.
Yeah. That's it. You have to find more artists.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been
yes.
fun.
I'm sorry for the few interruptions that we had, but you know, life is life. And thank you for taking an interest. For those that are interested, please go out and give my books a try. They're easy and fast to read, and guaranteed they'll be dark and violent. And if you like that kind of stuff, I'm your guy.
Awesome. Well, I was going to say, you know, the floor's yours to plug away anything you want, but you've done that. What about your socials?
But I went and took it.
You took it. You took it. You felt it. What about your socials? And is there any place if people want to reach out?
Right now, I'm just on. It's just Amazon and Goodreads and X. They're all under EL Montague, so easy to find. The thing is, since you do everything independently, running good socials, it's like a job, and I'm no good at it.
It is.
So, you know, this right here is my biggest venue. I'm active everywhere. But the fact that you guys called me out and let me have a little chat, that's pretty awesome. Thank you.
No, happy to. You know, I've got to do all the socials for not only the podcast but my writing as well. So it does feel like a full-time job.
It's a ton of work.
It is.
And it's a whole nother skill set. You know, I've barely gotten to where I know how to publish a book and to now create a social environment that anybody cares about. That's
and then you got to
maybe I'll get wealthy and I can hire somebody to do it for me.
And then you got to fend off the scammers as well.
There's plenty of those.
They're everywhere. Anyway, guys, all EL's Links will be down in the show notes. Thank you for listening. Thank you for just, supporting us if you are a regular listener. If you're not a regular listener, like, subscribe, share, all that podcast stuff. Check out our sponsors, Rebecca Castles and Martin Kearns. They've got some great stuff out. Make sure you pick up some of EL's books because they do look fantastic. And they're short. A lot of them are short, so you can read them really quickly. And then you can leave a review. But yeah.
I would love that. Thank you very much.
Until next time, keep supporting those indie authors and we'll catch you on the next episode.
See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.